Welcome back to our channel, where real-life stories restore your faith in humanity and remind us that kindness still exists in the most unexpected places. If you believe that compassion can change lives, then stay with us till the end of this video because today's story will surely touch your heart. It was a cold morning in a small town just outside Phoenix, Arizona. The streets were quiet, the sun barely breaking through the clouds, and the faint sound of motorcycles echoed in the distance. But this story doesn't begin with the bikers, it begins with a young woman named Sarah Miller. Sarah was 32, a single mother, and a fighter. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. Life had already been cruel to her. Her husband had walked out on her when he found out about her diagnosis, leaving her to raise her 6-year-old daughter, Lily, all by herself. But despite everything, Sarah never gave up. She worked part-time at a local diner, earning just enough to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. She was strong, hopeful, and determined to beat cancer for her daughter. Every morning, she'd wake up early, braid Lily's hair, pack her lunch, and whisper, "Mommy's gonna be okay." Even though deep down, she wasn't so sure anymore. One Friday morning, Sarah drove to her regular cancer treatment center, the Pine Valley Oncology Clinic. She had been coming here for months, receiving chemotherapy that kept her illness under control. But this time, something was different. As she walked up to the reception desk, the woman behind the counter barely looked up. "Hi, I'm here for my appointment," Sarah said softly. The receptionist typed something into her computer and frowned. "I'm sorry, Ms. Miller, but it looks like your insurance coverage has expired." Sarah blinked in confusion. "That can't be right. I just renewed my plan last month." The woman sighed impatiently. "It says here your payment didn't process. You'll have to settle the balance before you can continue treatment." Sarah's heart dropped. "But I don't have that kind of money right now. I can bring it next week. Please, I just need today's session." The receptionist didn't even make eye contact. "I'm sorry, ma'am, no payment, no treatment. That's policy." Sarah's hands trembled as she clutched the edge of the counter. "Please, I have cancer. I need this treatment," but her pleas fell on deaf ears. The receptionist called for security, and moments later, a guard walked over and gently, but firmly, escorted her out of the building. Standing outside in the cold, tears rolled down her face. She wasn't angry, she was defeated. The one place that was supposed to help her had just turned its back on her. As she sat on the curb near her old car, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Lily's school reminding her about the parent-teacher meeting that evening. Sarah wiped her tears and forced a smile. She had to stay strong for her little girl. She couldn't let her see her break. That night, after putting Lily to bed, Sarah sat by the window, staring at the moon. Her energy was fading, and so was her hope. She whispered to herself, "How much more can I take?" A few days passed. Sarah started feeling weaker. The missed treatment was taking a toll. But she still showed up for work at the diner, refusing to let her illness stop her. One afternoon, as she struggled to carry a tray of food to a group of bikers sitting in the corner booth, her hand began to shake. The tray slipped, spilling coffee all over the table. "I'm so sorry," she gasped, panicking. The men quickly stood up, helping her clean the mess. One of them, a tall man with a gray beard and a leather jacket that read, "Iron Souls MC," smiled warmly. "Hey, it's all right, sweetheart. No harm done." Sarah forced a weak smile. "Thank you. I've just been having a rough week." The biker looked at her closely, noticing how pale and tired she looked. "You okay?" She hesitated, not wanting to burden a stranger, but something about his kindness broke through her walls. "I'm not really. I have cancer. But they stopped my treatment because I can't afford it anymore." The table went silent. The bikers exchanged glances. The gray-bearded man finally spoke. "That's not right. Nobody should be denied help because of money." Sarah shrugged. "That's just how it is, I guess. I'll figure something out." The man extended his hand. "Name's Jack. We're the Iron Souls Motorcycle Club. We ride, we fix engines, and we look out for folks who need it. Let us see what we can do. Sarah smiled faintly. Thank you, but I don't want to be a burden. Jack shook his head. You're not a burden, ma'am. You're a fighter, and fighters don't get left behind. The next morning, Sarah woke up to the sound of motorcycles outside her apartment. Confused, she peeked out the window. There they were, at least a dozen bikers, all wearing their Iron Souls jackets. Jack stepped off his bike holding a folder. We talked about it last night, he said. We went through some contacts, talked to folks, and we're gonna help you get your treatment back. Sarah's eyes widened. What? You don't have to. But Jack interrupted. We're not asking permission, ma'am. We're doing what's right. That afternoon, the Iron Souls rode together to the Pine Valley Clinic. The roar of their engines shook the ground. People inside peeked through the windows, nervous and curious. The bikers parked their bikes right in front of the clinic doors. Jack led the way, walking straight to the reception desk where Sarah had been humiliated days before. The same receptionist froze as the men entered. "See, can I help you?" she stammered. Jack placed the folder on the counter. "Yeah, you can help by reinstating Sarah Miller's treatment." The woman blinked. "Excuse me." Jack leaned forward calmly. "You denied a cancer patient because of a missed payment. That's not just cruel, it's disgusting. We talked to the hospital board. Turns out, you've got a charity program that's supposed to cover cases like hers, but you never told her that." The receptionist went pale. I didn't know." Before she could finish, the clinic director appeared, clearly alarmed by the scene. "What's going on here?" Jack turned to him. "You run this place, right? Then you should be ashamed. This woman's fighting for her life. You're supposed to help people, not kick them out on the street." The director tried to maintain authority. "Sir, we follow strict policy." Jack cut him off. "Policies don't have hearts. People do. So, what's it gonna be? You gonna help her, or are we gonna make sure every news station in the state hears about what you did?" The director hesitated, realizing the bikers were serious. Cameras from onlookers were already recording. Within minutes, he sighed and nodded. "Fine, we'll reinstate her treatment under the charity plan." Sarah stood there, overwhelmed, tears filling her eyes. I don't know what to say." Jack smiled gently. "Say you'll keep fighting. That's all we want." From that day forward, the Iron Souls became her family. They took turns driving her to the clinic for every treatment. They repaired her car for free, helped with groceries, and even surprised little Lily with a small pink bicycle. The rough-looking bikers quickly became heroes in that small town. One day, as Sarah sat in the clinic during her session, the nurse smiled and said, "You know, ever since those bikers came in, things have changed around here. Management started reviewing every patient's case again. You might have started something big." Sarah laughed softly. "Not me. Them." Months passed. Sarah's condition began to improve. Her hair started growing back, her energy returned, and so did her smile. The doctors were astonished. Her cancer had gone into remission. She had done it. She had survived. When she told the Iron Souls, they threw a small celebration at the diner where it all began. The bikers hung a banner that read, "Welcome back, fighter." Jack stood up, raising a glass of soda. "To Sarah, the bravest woman we know. And to Lily, the reason she never gave up." Sarah wiped away tears. "I don't even know how to thank you all. You didn't just save my life, you gave me hope when I had none." Jack smiled. "That's what family does." But the story didn't end there. A few months later, Sarah began volunteering at the same clinic that once turned her away. She helped new patients navigate their insurance and financial aid programs, making sure no one ever went through what she did. She became a voice for the voiceless, a symbol of compassion born from pain. And as for the Iron Souls, their act of kindness spread like wildfire. News outlets picked up the story. Donations poured into their charity foundation. Soon, they were helping people across the state, veterans, sick children, struggling families, anyone who needed a hand. Jack once said, "We may look rough on the outside, but we've all been through hell." That's why we ride, not just for freedom, but for purpose. Years later, when Sarah looked back, she often said, "Cancer tried to break me. But because of those bikers, I found strength I never knew I had." It's stories like this that remind us, heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they wear leather jackets and ride Harley Davidsons. And sometimes, the loudest engines carry the biggest hearts. If this story moved you, take a moment to share it. You never know whose life your kindness might touch next. And remember, even when the world seems cold and cruel, there are still good people out there ready to stand up for what's right.